So have you got an updated consultation paper on these issues?
No, we've done the consultation, so there will...
Or an updated paper that sets these things out? Or you need to finish...
as we finish our product development and all our detail engineering, we'll provide that, which will be the specifications.
So do you anticipate the same product set in FTTN areas?
Yes, we are trying to... our approach to this is to not take a technology-led service provision. What we're trying to provide RSPs is that they could order a service, whether it be 12.1, 25.5, 50.20 or 140, and we will deliver that service on the most applicable technology that's available. I caveat that with...
I'm now confused. I'm talking about specifically the footprint where FTTN will be.
So basically saying the approach we're taking on the product architecture is to be consistent with all those speed tiers, so that the intent is a 12.1, 25.5, 50.20, 140, with the caveat that we will also, on the FTTN footprint, have to provide a service qualification tool, which will then do an assessment as to whether that premise is in the range of those speed tiers.
Well, I want to come... I mean, I'm drawing on the BT model, which is the Minister's favourite one. And as you know, they offer two tiers. And so there's a whole range of customers who can't get anything more than 38 guaranteed. And that's still an up to, so when I say guaranteed, I'm being generous. And then they have a 75 or 78 or something. Yeah. So they're only offering, in much higher density areas than Australia, 2 tiers, and they're not pretending they can deliver 100 to anybody. So I'm working from a real world example. I'm now trying to understand...
And there are other examples, other countries where they are delivering 100. So this is why the 1,000-node trial, we need to pull a whole bunch of nodes out, run those tests, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. So at the moment, we're just talking theory.
Yeah, okay. You've unfortunately confused me with what you described in the process you're going through, that you're trying to sell speed tiers and then you're working backwards from the speed tiers with the technology. That sounds the complete opposite to
we're just trying to
the
be
design of
we're just trying to be consistent to our service providers.
No, I get the point you're trying to make, but in an engineering construction sense, that's a totally reverse engineered outcome.
Can I offer I think I'll reconcile that.
Yeah, because that means you've got to build more nodes deeper.
Well,
or you've got to go D, B, PP, whatever.
Some places, no, it means that where someone can get 140 because they're close to the node, then they may get that. But if they can't get it, we'll tell them that. We'll say, you'll get the lower, you can only get to the next level down.
That's right. It's the 5010 that we're after, right, for the majority of the fixed line footprint.
No, I'm just talking about, I mean, as I said, it was more the way that Mr. Simon described it that's led me to be a little confused.
I understand. And because if I can, John, he's basically saying for a given area, we know we're pretty confident we're going to be able to give you the 5010. We're not worried about that. Can we really give all of those customers the 140? That's what we're not confident about. The trial will help that, and it may be that an area differs.
There's worldwide samples and laboratory tests, so there's real world, and all of the tests suggest, even with vectoring, 200 metres, 300 metres.
And that may be the case.
So unless you're going to break land speed records, that's a euphemism, you need nodes to guarantee 140. So I'm just trying to understand whether you're now saying your product, your construction design will deliver 140, or your construction design can only guarantee the 50, and you're not designing. So
and we may have
it just may be the way you described it.
So the construction
I'm just trying to make sure there's no
we'll
confusion.
design to the 50. But where the premise is able to get more, then we will add a product capability to be able to deliver more.
So theoretically, according to one website, so a 17-year-old is a genius. If you haven't given him a job by the end of this, then there's something wrong with you guys.
Who's this gentleman?
Kenneth.
Oh,
Zeno, as his name.
Is that his nickname, Zeno?
Yeah, Zeno, that's his Whirlpool tag.
Because you're mates with him.
I only met him through the process. I've not been skiing with him yet, though. I don't know if he does, but I will gladly take him skiing, or snowboarding in my case. They've done a bit of a distribution based on theoretical lengths in Umina. I'm sure you may have seen it. It's theoretical. I don't think you can hold it too accurately.
Lots of people do the distribution. I tend to rely on our engineers and our people.
No. So I'm not suggesting. But the design there showed that Theoretical speeds would be around 45 average. Average can mean anything, but an average. So still about half the population, half the footprint couldn't get greater than 50 consistently. Now that's his theoretical assumption. I may have been unkind to how I've described that. So I'm just wanting to confirm on what Mr. Morrow said, that you're aiming for the 50, which is probably the 400 metres. But your tests will show all of this.
Yep.
And so on that sort of assumption, it is not unreasonable for people to postulate that roughly half won't be able to get that extra tier. They might be able to get faster than 50, but not 140. And so you're saying, Mr. Simon, you would let them know clearly that they could not access that top tier, or importantly, ultimately, the gig that's available on fibre to the
That was my
premises.
comment about service qualification.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to make sure people are well advised, and you're able to, though you won't want to, make a reasonable estimate of the total population in a given FSAM that will or won't be able to, because by definition you'll be telling them they can't, or you'll be qualifying for X population that they can't get the top two tiers on FTTP.
So in a way, if you looked at it, we believe that with the data that was pulled together, hang on a second, John, with that data that was pulled together, we will build a network in the fibre to the node footprint that will offer 90% of those people 50/10. However, there will be a subset of those people within that network that can get higher, and that's what we don't know, and we will specify so the RSPs can say, I know, even though Greg may be further down the street from me, I may have access to 100, Greg has access to only 50. That's the point.
Yeah, no, and that could be a lead-in issue, it could be, and my problem there is, or not problem, but the problem for that person is you're not going to replace that one person in the street with a piece of fibre.
That's correct.
Because you might replace their copper.
Unless they want to pay for it.
Yeah, you might replace their copper so they can get the same speed as Greg. So here's 5 houses down the street. You two are lucky enough, you two aren't, and you're sort of on the edge. Right. You're not going to replace yours to get you up. You might say the N2 are too far away, so there's nothing you can do with new copper.
Economically impractical to do. Right.
But you can foresee situations where you replace copper with copper.
If the economics prevent.
Well, you just said you're not going to replace one line, which is an economic, sensible thing to say.
No, well, if I can clarify again, because one line, again, take one of the lead-ins that's coming in. If the lead-in is faulty because there's been some sort of ground creature, a possum that's chewed through the conduit and hit the cable.
Have you met any possums yet, Mr. Whitcomb? Pray you don't meet any in your roof.
And so we may just replace that in order to be able to get the speeds up there. So that's a copper replacement by the definition you just gave, but that's far more economically feasible than saying, yep, let's forget about the entire copper in that neighborhood and go with fibre to the prem for everybody.
Yeah, no, if you find everybody in the streets, like if you come to Williamstown, where we've got much soggy copper, because we've got very poor underground Melbourne weather. We're the oldest suburb in Melbourne, so we've got the oldest copper, we've got the oldest everything, and we've got the least amount of drainage. You might go, that entire 40% of that suburb can't get it. So just go and do it.
Right, sorry, and it may have been slotted for FTTN, but no longer. So.
Yeah, no, I accept that as a premise. But what I'm saying is there may be just a couple of houses in a couple of streets, and they may think, great, I can only get 20 meg. They're going to have to come and put fibre in. You're going to go, no, sorry, break your heart, you can have some fresh copper. If it's just one or two houses in a street in Williamstown.
Yeah, but can I say, again, I cut my teeth on splicing copper and running this for years. It's very unlikely that only 2 or 3 houses are going to have a problem. If it's in the main portion of the cable, it could be just a splice of those particular pairs, and a technician will go out and either move them to a different pair.
I invite you to come to the next time I have my pit opened out front.
And
I've stood there with the pit open with the guy trying to connect 2 copper phone lines.
I've done a couple of tours already that I can assure you that copper's not going to be suitable for what we need to do.
Yeah.
Void your warranty if you're out doing it yourself.
I wasn't doing it myself. I had a technician there.
Just correct.
Sorry, Scott.
Yep.